I'm Rebecca Pressman, and I'll be talking about precision in expression. I had the time of my life last night. So you hear this from me and understand generally that whatever I may have done last night was really great. And maybe you're happy for me that I had a good time, or maybe you're jealous because you were stuck at home. But either way, we have not formed any connection, and I have been let off the hook. But right now, let's talk about remaining on the hook. When I was in high school, my English teachers would groan upon hearing cliches, the dramatic ones sometimes adding a pantomime stabbing to the heart. Being the eager-to-please student that I was, I took note of this, making sure to avoid trite expressions in my writing and in my speech. Now, I am that English teacher. And when I'm feeling a little dramatic, I too will bring my fist to my chest with a look of defeat when I hear one of my students talking about the grass always being greener on the other side, or consoling a friend after a breakup with the statement that there are plenty of fish in the sea. I suppose it's always been ingrained in me that cliches are inherently bad, but it was more recently that I began to explore and consider why. Here's the problem. A cliche, when originally coined, refers to something specific, even if it's used figuratively. A cliche becomes a cliche, however, through overuse. And oftentimes, these language devices are little more than superficial expressions that are not necessarily supported by anything of substance. The person using a cliche does little to convey a true emotion, experience, or idea, and the person hearing it has only surface insight into what that person means. This quashes an opportunity for human connection. The expression wearing one's heart on one's sleeve, for instance, was once specific and fresh when it was originally used in Shakespeare's Othello by the evil villain Iago, who shamelessly informs Rodrigo that he is not an honest man. He is not, however, willing to let the rest of the characters see the disparity between his true self and the one he presents outwardly. He goes as far to explain the risk of exposing his true self, stating, quote, "'Tis not long after, but I will wear my heart upon my sleeve for daws to peck at," unquote. This expression originally referred to this character's justifications for concealing whom he inherently is, for fear that revealing his true self would lead to his demise, or metaphorically, to birds pecking away at his heart. Today, we might use that expression to find an efficient way to convey that somebody is transparent in revealing his or her emotions. But it in no way refers to a specific situation pertaining to a specific person. Cliches certainly can be effective, but they also risk sounding glib and generalized. It's especially important for us to be alert to cliches right now as we are steeped in the election season. Much of campaigning relies on language and its power. There is something effective about a candidate's use of a slogan that makes him or her identifiable, but we need to remember that language is just that. Promises to make America great again, or to be that champion that Americans need, surely drum up excitement, but they're not necessarily backed by anything of substance. Language does not equate to action, and as we buy into this rhetoric, we are permitting a degree of complacency. A few months ago, I was renting a cottage on Cape Cod. Upon finding the guest book faded from sitting on an accent table by a west-facing window, I picked it up and settled into the couch to read the messages written by other people who had also stayed in the little cottage. Page after page, I read about how grateful these renters were to have the opportunity to experience the little slice of paradise, or some equally stab-worthy descriptor that was the little cottage on the bay. I noticed that the cliched sentiments in these messages stripped the experience of anything unique, minimizing the cottage to just any cottage on just any body of water. I became acutely aware of this other cringeworthy aspect of cliches, their ability to reduce something unique to something general. I made sure that when I added my page to the guest book, I would mention all of the things that contributed to making my stay a unique one. I'd talk about playing gin rummy by the fire, my fascination with a large photograph on the wall of a Barnum and Bailey circus gathering depicting some pretty creepy clowns, my appreciation for the upstairs shower with its celadon tiles from floor to ceiling and a window facing out to the bay, and waking up each morning to the yellow bedroom lit by the muted brightness of the gray sky and to the sound of the hushed wind. And I in no way believe that I was unique in appreciating these things, but this was the specific experience that I had, so I wanted my message in the guest book to reflect that and not some vague experience that could have happened anywhere at any time to anyone. A guest book provides an opportunity for human connection, both amongst all the people who have existed in the same space at one point and between the renters and the owner of the home. To articulate this experience with precision strengthens that connection. Language is a form of art. Good art speaks to us not because it captures a vague experience, but because it captures a specific one. This might seem counterintuitive. It might seem that in engaging with art, if it's more broad, it will speak to a wider audience. But I wonder if engaging with art, we're struck more by the notion that the artist was responding to something real and valid and not to something vague. If we use any opportunity to express ourselves precisely, and if we use language that accurately reflects experience rather than language that replaces it, we are communicating in ways that breed human connection. So, if you take anything from this talk, let it be this: cliches, avoid them like the plague.